India's oceans. They've been a lifeline for centuries. But right now, that lifeline is, well, it's under a lot of strain. So we've got a huge question to tackle. Is India's fishing future going to be one of sustainable bounty, or are we steering straight into a bust?
To really get what's on the line here, let's talk about a real person. His name is Navkishar Gope. He had been displaced, started with absolutely nothing. But then, a new government fishing scheme changed everything for him. This wasn't just a small change. The report on him says, from not owning even a bicycle, he now has a house and a moped. That's a life turned around. And that transformation, that's the dream, right? It's the promise at the very heart of what everyone's calling the blue economy.
Now, Navkishar's story is incredible, but here's the thing. He's not an outlier. His story is just one snapshot in a sector that is absolutely massive. We're talking about 12 million people. Let that sink in. 12 million livelihoods in India depend directly on fishing. That's millions of families whose entire future is tied to the health of our oceans.
So yeah, let's start right there. This isn't just an industry, it's a vast ocean of livelihoods, and it's a cornerstone of India's whole economy.
And the scale? It's honestly staggering. India isn't just some regional player here. We're talking about the world's second largest fish producer. That's 8% of the entire global catch. That makes India a giant on the world stage. And with that kind of size, well, that comes with some immense responsibility.
But, for all that success, the story starts to get complicated. The industry is facing some really deep problems. It's what you might call a truly troubled catch.
So how did we get here? What went wrong? Well, for decades, the policy was basically an open access regime. The Food and Agriculture Organization puts it perfectly. It created a total free-for-all. It just encouraged more and more people to exploit coastal resources, way beyond their limits. It's that classic problem, right? Too many boats chasing way too few fish.
And this creates this huge conflict out on the water. On one side, you've got your artisanal fishers, in traditional boats like canoes. On the other side, you've got these massive industrial fleets with mechanized bottom trawlers that could just haul in over 90% of the catch in some states. This huge technology gap is just fueling tension and some pretty fierce competition.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just an Indian problem. On a global scale, fish catches actually peaked way back in the 1990s and have now completely flatlined. The world's oceans are literally hitting their natural limits. And what does that do? It puts even more pressure on India's already strained system.
And all of this just feeds into this dangerous downward spiral. You've got fish stocks that are overexploited, but at the same time, the cost of fuel is skyrocketing. We're talking 50 to 60% of the cost of a multi-day trip. So what happens? Fishermen are working harder than ever for smaller and smaller catches, and their income is just stagnating. It's a completely unsustainable cycle, and it's just fueling more conflict. Okay, but there is a plan to break out of this cycle. There's an ambitious new vision from the government, and it's called the Blue Economy Blueprint.
And right at the heart of this blueprint is a huge, landmark scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, or PMMSY for short. The best way to think about it is as a complete overhaul of the system, designed to modernize literally everything, from the boats in the water to the infrastructure on shore.
And when I say this is a big investment, I mean it. The government has committed over 21,000 crore rupees. That's not just pocket change. That's a powerful signal of just how vital the sector is seen for India's future.
And the goals here they're incredibly comprehensive. It's not just one thing. It's about modernizing the entire fleet and the ports. It's about bringing in sustainable aquaculture tech. It's about strengthening that whole post-harvest chain to cut down on waste. They're even formalizing the whole sector, giving digital IDs to everyone involved. I mean, it's a true top-to-bottom transformation. And this isn't just about throwing money at the problem. It's about investing in some really smart, innovative tech. Let me give you an example. Something called biofloc technology. It's brilliant. It's a sustainable aquaculture system that uses microbes to basically recycle waste into natural fish feed, and it cleans the water at the same time. What that means is you can farm way more fish with way fewer resources. It's a total game changer.
But the innovation doesn't even stop there. The blueprint introduces this really radical new way of thinking about ocean pollution, basically turning waste into wealth.
This is what's being called the circular blue economy. The idea at its core is simple. but it's also revolutionary. It's about stopping seeing marine waste, plastics, old fishing gear, all that stuff, as just trash. Instead, you start seeing it as a raw material, a resource that can be transformed into valuable products like biofuels or recycled polymers.
So how does that actually work? Well, it's a pretty simple three-step process. Step 1, you collect all that marine waste from beaches and ports. Step 2, you process it in new coastal biorefineries. And then, step 3, you create these value-added products that can be sold in completely new markets. You're literally turning a massive pollution problem into a new economic opportunity.
It's a really powerful vision, right? But look, having a plan is one thing. Actually navigating the future, that's going to come with its own set of pretty significant challenges.
And we have to be realistic about the hurdles here. Things like enforcing regulations to stop overfishing or combating illegal fishing. These are massive undertakings. But maybe the biggest challenge of all is finding that perfect balance, that sweet spot between rapid economic growth and long-term environmental health. And crucially, making sure that all these new technologies and benefits actually reach the small-scale traditional fishing communities who need them the most.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to that central question. India is really at a crossroads. It's armed with this ambitious, well-funded plan. But can this vision create a truly sustainable future for both its oceans and its people? The answer to that question is going to define the fate of millions for generations to come.